Dear reader, I was not born at Gateshead. I was delivered into a world already eager to silence me in a room the color of blood. They called it the Red Room. I called it the beginning. It was not a nursery, though I was still a child. It was a womb, vast and airless, red all over like the inside of a body too ashamed to speak. Inside it, I was made to sit still, to repent, to remember my place. But do you know what I remember most? The silent ghost, like the lingering breath of all the souls that had once passed through that red chamber, the first womb I was buried in. The way the light from the window curled like fingers on a cradle, the way I screamed and no one came, while I was suffocating with distress. And so, world, if you must call it birth, let it be known I came into being through fear, not grace. I was not swaddled, I heard no lullabies, neither was I welcomed with joy. From the day my eyes have met the world, I was made to understand that my existence was an inconvenience, a presence to be tucked away out of sight and preferably out of sound. I fractured there, quietly in that hushed red room. But remember, even the smallest fracture can become a passage, and mine let the light in. They wanted that room to punish me, but it did something else. I was split in two, into the girl who walked the path that others forced, who nodded when told, who shut her mouth and hid her fire, and the girl who kept her eyes and mouth open, always watching, sometimes speaking, quietly refusing to forget. Reader, I think that's when I began to understand the nature of doors. I watched them close with a click meant to silence. I watched them open only for those with names louder than mine. And I learned which doors would never open unless I broke them down myself. At Lowood, the walls were cleaner, the punishments quieter, but I was still in that red womb. Only now it was held together by rules, prayers, and hunger. There was a kind of order to it, yes, the kind that wears you down slowly until you stop asking for more. They said they were teaching me humility, but really, they were teaching me how to disappear. They hoped to teach me silence, but I wasn't entirely alone. There was Helen, quiet, steady, my passing star. She endured things I couldn't have borne, and somehow she still believed in kindness, though she too became a passing spirit in the cage I called the womb. I carry her still, not like a banner, but a warming ember tucked somewhere deep in my heart. At Thornfield, I met a man who saw me, or thought he did. He looked at me like a fairy, a creature to adore and keep, but the room had taught me to be wary, to question the eyes that gazed too kindly, to fear the hands that reached out with sweetness but still meant to hold. And even love, I learned, can come with its own keys, its own attic. He tried to place a veil over my eyes, another room, another locking, I fled. I walked into the wilderness. No family, no home, no name worth saying aloud. And yet, I was more myself than I had ever been. Is this not what birth must feel like? Not the cry, not the blood, but the state of being alone. The light too bright to make sense, the air too new to trust, and then breath, and then movement. And with every movement of my chest, I came back to the room, not the one they stuffed me in, but the womb, the giving, freeing, not warm, not safe, but it was mine after all. That was the birth I never had, the one that didn't come with rules or ribbons or prayers, just breath, pain, and the slow return of voice. The path unknown, but I knew what I was walking away from. And sometimes that's enough. When I returned to him, I came as my own to his own, not his ward, not his governess, not his redemption. He had no chains left. I had no chains left, only my voice. And I spoke, not to ask for permission, but to declare presence, to become his eyes, the ones I once needed. Reader, I wrote this story. I held the pen. I chose what to remember, what to forgive. That too is freedom. And yet I have not forgotten the red room. I visit it still, not in body, but in dream, that red silence, that deep buried shame, that origin wound. It is where I first understood the power of being unlooked at. And from that invisibility, I built my seeing. It is not a place I fear. It is the place where I first said no, and later whispered I, and finally declared I am. You once were locked in the body of your mother, but if you ever again find yourself locked away, not out of love, not to nurture, in a room made for your unmaking, remember this. You're not only what is kept inside, you're what breaks the doors open. Yours, Jane.